Yeah,
Try
good
again.
evening. Weather's good and lots of young guests here waiting to do this semi-final draw, so no pressure.
No pressure at all. Well, we'll have a chat about the games themselves first in the quarterfinals. Three of them were as you expected in terms of the result, although I think the performance of the day in some ways really was Malou, wasn't it? Second division side, gone pretty well at times in JCK Division 2 this season, but Russian have been very, very good in the Premier League this season and have been right up there, not necessarily challenging for the title, but certainly right up in the top three there. And Malou were winning 1-0 at half-time. They were leading 2-1 at one point. Really gave Russian a scare, but Russian did enough in the end to run out 3-2 winners.
It was always going to be tight, this one, because the pitch as well is a bit of a leveller, because Malou know how to play it. Russian won't be used to playing there because obviously they're two leagues or a league difference, but 2-0 up. Absolutely fantastic. And Dale Walker with the first one, Daniel McLaughlin with the second. And looking really good. But then Jamie Johnson got two, so we sort of breathed a little bit of life back into Russian. And then Josh Kelly, as you'd expect, got the third one. So it doesn't matter with the score. You know, Malou have put in a great performance. They're in good form at the moment because they played really well on Tuesday against Pulrose when they held one of the top boys in that league to 2-2 and made that penalty save towards the end as well. So terrific performance by Malou. Well done to Russian. They go through to the semi-final draw, and also they've got themselves into the Railway Cup semi-finals as well. So plenty of trophies on offer for them. The league, I think, is all but gone because St George's keep chipping away, but still two to go, and it keeps the season alive for them for the remainder of 5-6 weeks.
Indeed. Just a nice message here come through about Malou's performance today. It says, couldn't be any more proud to be involved with Malou AFC today. 14 lads wore the shirt with pride and ran their legs off for 90 minutes. To push a full-strength Russian side is a sign of where we're at. To hold the lead for 60 minutes against a First Division side is a credit to us. Cheers to Russian for being so complimentary of our efforts. Dale Walker and Dan McLaughlin with their goals up the Malou. Yeah. I think they've earned that today. Indeed. Another very edgy, intense affair by the looks of it today was Douglas Athletic against Moran. It was 1-0 to Moran at half-time, 3-3 at full-time, 4-4 after extra time. Douglas Athletic, though, finally just triumphing because we thought there could be a possibility of an upset in this one. There wasn't. But Moran pushed Douglas Athletic all the way today.
When I was heading back from St John's, I didn't know which way to go because Douglas Athletic is down at Springfield Road, so that wouldn't have been a problem. But I just wanted to catch the last half an hour of Corinthians St Mary's at the Bowl, and what a performance again by both teams. Moran were 1-0 up at half-time. Andrew O'Neill with the goal there. I don't know how the scoring went then, but Conor Gilbert got one, Kevin Druggan and Stewie Morris. I think he was missing over the last game, so good to see him back. But Athletic, Will Penrick got the first, Mikey Collister got one, Lewis Daly from the penalty spot, and Darren Shields, I think it was, who got, he might have given Douglas Athletic the lead 4-3. So it was a good fight back there by both teams when they were under pressure. But standing keeper for Douglas Athletic, which was Lee Filson, and he saved two penalties, because this went to extra time and penalties, and Douglas Athletic won 3-1 on pens. Don't know who got the winning penalty, doesn't matter. Douglas Athletic go through, and it shows that Moran are well equipped to mix it with the big boys.
I had seen it on social media, but I didn't make a note of it. Apologies about that, but they have put it out there, so you can find it, I think, on Douglas Athletics Twitter. St John's 1, St George's 9. St John's would have been buoyant, I think, after that win against Peel in the week. A good win as well at 5-1, but Jury's Day showing their class again. Frank Jones leading the way.
Absolutely, but Kieran McNulty was the start because he got his first one within. I had 1 minute 56 seconds on my watch, so a nice way to start. Good work down the right-hand side, Joey Morling. Nice little touch into Frank Jones. Good, clever flick by him. And Kieran, on a plate, really put it past Damien Petkoff. The second one, very, very similar. Again, Joey down the right-hand side, byline this time, brought it back in. And Frank Jones was there to touch on to Kieran McNulty, and he scored the second. Third one, well, this was the talking point. Just before the third one went in, it was a second bookable offence for Nathan Kelly. The first one, I think, was for kicking the ball away. The second one, it was a challenge. It was a firm challenge. Whether it was a second booking, some referees would have given it, some wouldn't. But Alan Callow gave the second booking, which meant they were down to 10. So Nathan had to go off the pitch. And then within a couple of minutes, Furu Davies scored the third, and 3-0 it was at half-time. Then the Frank Jones show started. The first one was clever. Good cross in from the right-hand side. Frank was there, headed it in, good finish. But the second one was something special. Similar sort of area, crossed over from the right-hand side, and Frank there hit it on the volley. The goalkeeper was never going to stop it. If he did, he was going to break both arms. There was so much power on it. And then Sir George just kept going and going and going. Furrer Davies got a second. Frank got another one. Chris Bass, he got the 7th one. Sam Kane got one as well. And it was a great performance by them. At 7, I think it was, Rhys Oates got a consolation goal for St John's, 7-1, then 8-1, 9-1. It didn't matter. St George's looked good. They looked good. But St John's, I think when they went down to 10, just struggled big time, to deal with that. And the replacements they put in the back, they couldn't deal with St George's front line. And it's nice to watch when you watch games like that. It's not nice for St John's to be part of, but you just take your hat off and you say well done to them. They're playing some good football, Geordies, at the moment, but also there's still some good sides in this competition left as well.
Indeed, in the final match, Corinthians with a good win against St Mary's, a goal in each half, both of them coming from Steve Whitley. I think the second one was a bit of a worldie from what I've read on social media as well. Yeah,
it was, and I'm glad I got down there and I managed to get that one in. The first one, Steve Whitley. There was a lot of responsibility on Steve today because Sean Doyle didn't play. They're not going to take any risks. It doesn't look as if it's serious, but they needed to rest him, and we'll see what the physio says on Monday. And also Darren Kane, who's just tweaked a hamstring, and they rested him as well. But the guys that came in, Danny McMahon got it spot on at the back. Cameron Lee again, the main centre back. It was really good to see. But Smithy is just playing so well at the back for Corinthians at the moment, and it's great to see. And then you've got Callum Campbell on that right hand side. They tried to nullify Dan Simpson, but it didn't happen. And anything that came through, Cam and Tom Smith dealt with. But when I got there, I was a little bit worried because Corinthians were on the attack. And then for a good 5 minutes, St Mary's had a good spell. Stevie Peasnell, as you would expect, had come in to cause one or two problems. John Haggerton as well was causing all sorts of threats. He's big in the air. And Nathan Halsall. But they managed to weather that little bit of a storm, and then suddenly it broke up the far end. And there was, I think it was start from a free kick. It was a good distance away, and Whitley just managed to finish it off and made it safe for Corinthians. And as you'd expect, absolutely delighted to beat one of the top sides in the league, St Mary's.
And with one cup in the bag, there's a chance of another one still for the Whites this season. Well, I think as we've got our guests here, Tony, we should do the draw now, really, as we've just finished speaking about the Hospital Cup. So the semi-finals, and they're going to be played next Saturday on what's being dubbed Super Saturday, because both matches are being played simultaneously at Balafletcher.
Yeah, the idea of it, we brought it in last year. If you remember, the Hospital Cup, there's 50% of the proceedings from the final gate goes to a charity chosen by the Alaman Football Association. It's always been sort of a little thing, why don't we play on neutral grounds and give it a go somewhere else? So we tried it last year, both at Balafletcher, because it's right next to the hospital. It's the Hospital Cup.
It's got two pitches that are of sufficient quality as well. Yeah,
two pitches are next to each other, and we thought, let's give it a go. And we raised quite a bit of money for Craig's Heart Strong Foundation, which is brilliant. So we go again, and we said this at the start of the season. The only problem is Corinthians are in the draw. Corinthians cannot play on their pitch, so Corinthians will have to play on Douglas Royal's pitch. It's one of them. Whoever they make in the draw, if they are quite happy to play at Corinthians, I'm sure that can be accommodated.
Well, funnily enough, you're talking about that. Look what's happening just behind you there on the telly. Spurs are effectively playing a home tie, or as it is for them at the moment, because they're playing the matches at Wembley whilst the White Hart Lane's been renovated, and they're playing United.
But it's something different. It's just the way it's worked out. Some people say, it's advantage Corinthians or whatever. Not really. I don't think there's any advantage on the Isle of Man, to be honest with you. The most important thing is the charities. The charities that are going to gain the money. It'll be £3 into Balafletcher. Every single penny will go to the charities or charity, whoever the Isle of Man FA decide to choose. And also the takings from the tea hatch and everything else, that all goes to the charities as well. There was a great amount of money last year, and let's just hope the weather stays good and we raise even more. So, there's no pressure on. We've got Tom.
I was going to say, introduce our guests, please.
I'm not 100% on the surnames, but the young guys and a lady. So we'll give that. But I've got Ben on my right. He's the eldest. He's 12. So he's going to draw the first one. And we've got Tom, who's going to draw the second one. Amy, she's going to draw the third one. And then we're going to come back to Ben for the fourth one.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Jill's at Wembley now
Jill
watching
Christian
this game. So
from Keystone
Sally's here
Law.
to make sure everything's done above board. She's a lawyer, so there's no problem.
No pressure, no problem.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to leave it to Ben. First one out, Ben, if you call the number and let Ed know.
Nice and loud.
3.
Number 3, that's Rushing United.
Tom?
Nice and loud as well, Tom.
1.
Number 1, that's Corinthians.
I'll go over to Amy. There you go, my dear.
4.
Number 4, that's St George's.
Hopefully this is 2.
So that should be number 2 left. Let's make sure.
It is number 2.
And that's Douglas Athletic. So there we go. So it's Rushing United against Corinthians and St George's against Douglas Athletic. Thank you very much, guys, for doing the draw there.